Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2, 3. Well, hello. Welcome to this English lesson. We'll start in about 36 seconds. Just want to say hi to Key Park. I see Key Park in the chat there. Lolly Lolly, bunch of other regulars and members. Vitor as well. Just going to test to make sure everything is working properly. Usually it is. Knock on wood. I haven't had any technical problems for a while. So we'll start in about 11 seconds with this lesson about action verbs. Part 2, by the way. Well, hello and welcome to this English lesson about action verbs. As you can see, this is part 2. About a month ago, a little over a month ago, I did a lesson on action verbs. I think it was called Basic Action Verbs. This English lesson will be a little more advanced, actually more intermediate. These are action verbs that we use quite commonly, but they're kind of a level above the basic action words. For example, instead of shut the door or close the door, sometimes we slam the door. So that will be one of the action verbs that you will learn in this English lesson. I do have some video clips prepared, so you'll see all of these action verbs in action. That makes the lesson just a little bit more exciting. But once again, welcome to this English lesson about action verbs, part 2. Hey, I do want to say hi to a bunch of people. I said hi to Key Park already, but hi to Key Park, Madi, Dave the Canadian is here, Lolly Lolly, Wanda Prado, Natalia Illusion, Unsel, Vitor, Danny, Freddie Wolf, Renata. I'm just scrolling back to catch a few names here. Kuiper, Yaroslav is here as well. I did see Eugene is here. Eugene is going to go see the cherry blossoms today. Cherry blossoms are beautiful. John from Brazil is here as well. Danny, I think I said Danny, but I think there might be 2 Dannys here. Good to see all of you this morning. I think most of you know the drill. If you have a question during the lesson, do use the link that's shared in the chat. Click that. It will take you to a form and fill it out. And I'll try to answer all of the questions this morning. Also, please use the chat to have fun English conversations with each other. I already see people in the chat asking questions or saying, welcome to the stream, or good job, teacher. Thank you. Please use it as a place to practice your English reading and writing while you're listening to me do the lesson. This is one of the only classes in life where you're allowed to chat while the teacher's talking. In my normal classrooms, that's not allowed. I don't like it when students chat when I'm talking. Anyways, once again, good morning to all of you, or good afternoon or good evening. Welcome to this English lesson about action verbs. I think you will learn some new verbs in this lesson. And I do want to mention again, these are not uncommon verbs. They're a little more advanced than the basic verbs, but they are verbs we definitely use in everyday English. So let's get started. I think it's a good idea. Should I do one more audio check? Let me do that. Should I do a focus check? Oh, look at that. Everything is working the way it's supposed to. Let's get started. Slam. So this is something you do with usually a door. Sometimes when you get out of your car, you close the door. Sometimes you shut the door. But if you close it really fast and hard, we use the verb slam. It's not a good idea to slam a door. In a house, you can shut a door or close a door, but you can also slam a door. Sometimes you slam a door shut by accident. Sometimes you don't know your own strength, and so you push the door too hard. But sometimes people will slam a door when they're angry. Sometimes when people are angry, they will walk away. They'll go through a door and they'll slam the door because they're angry. Maybe they get out of the car and they're angry with the person who they were in the car with, and they might slam the door. So let's watch that one more time. When a door is shut really quickly, and it usually makes a loud noise, we say that you have slammed the door. Pounce. So this is something that mostly animals do. You can see that this cat has found something in the lawn Maybe it's a small bug, maybe a cricket or a grasshopper, and the cat has decided to pounce on it. When an animal pounces, it's a fun word to say, isn't it? When an animal pounces, they go from being very, very still to jumping forward quickly, usually with their front two paws. So let's watch the cat one more time. The cat will pounce on a small insect in the lawn. And I think maybe it caught it because it doesn't run in any other direction. It must have pounced and caught it. So I don't have a video for this one, but pry is when you use something like this tool, which is called a crowbar, to kind of open something up or to make something move. We often use the word pry when we're using a stick or a tool to kind of take something apart. This person is going to pry this piece of wood off of the wall. We even sometimes call this a pry bar. I call it a crowbar, but you can also call it a pry bar, a tool that you use to pry something. If you play cards, before you deal the cards, you need to shuffle the cards. You can see that this person is playing a game called Uno. It's a really fun game, by the way. But they have decided they need to shuffle the cards before they deal the cards. So when you shuffle the cards, you mix the cards up. You want to make sure that the cards are not in order anymore. You want to make sure that everyone gets a random card when you deal the cards. So you shuffle the cards. Flatten. I couldn't find a good example of flatten. This was the best one. When you flatten something, you make it flat. My hand is not flat. If I push down, I can make my hand flat. I can flatten my hand. This person is cooking something. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but they have this heavy thing that they're putting on top of the food to flatten the food. When you flatten something, you make it so that it's even and usually quite thin. Sometimes when I put an egg in the pan, I will break the yolk and I will flip it, and then I will push down with the spatula to flatten the egg. So when you make something flat, we use the verb flatten. Now, there's a number of ways to describe what's happening here. You could say that this person is using the hammer to hit the nail. You can say the person is using the hammer to strike the nail. But we usually sometimes, I shouldn't say usually, we sometimes use the word pound. You can pound a nail in. You can pound a piece of wood into the ground. So whenever you pound, you have something that has to go into something else, and you need to hit it, usually with a hammer. Jen and I sometimes pound stakes into the ground outside, pieces of wood with a point on the end, and we pound them into the ground with a large hammer. So when you pound something in, it means you make it go into something else. He is using the hammer to pound the nail into the wood. Swat. So actually this morning there was a fly flying around me and I was doing this. In fact, I think the last time I taught the word swat, the same thing happened. You can see that this person is swatting. When you swat, sorry to flip from the ing form to the normal form. When you swat, you do this with your hand. You can also do this with a fly swatter. A fly swatter is something you use to swat flies. But anytime you do this action, especially when there are bugs around, we say that you are swatting. You have decided to swat the bug, usually to get rid of it. So when you yank on something, it means to pull it, but to pull it really, really hard, to use a lot of strength when you pull it. So this person has decided to yank on this door. It's kind of the opposite of slam in some ways. When you slam a door, you close it with lots of strength. When you yank on something, or when you yank on a door, you try to pull it open with all kinds of strength. It's not the same as open though, okay? Yank is what you would do just before something does open. So he is trying to open the door by yanking on it, and it probably isn't moving. He's using as much strength as possible to pull on it. Shove. So I really tried hard to find a video clip of someone shoving someone else, but I couldn't. So this is the only thing I could find. When you shove someone, it means you push them and maybe they go off balance. It's obviously not a nice thing to do to someone. You don't want to shove someone. Sometimes when you're waiting in line, you accidentally shove someone. When you turn, you might shove them by accident. But generally, a shove would be an intentional push. That means you decided to do it with one or both hands, and you make the person move in the other direction. I would say this: kids sometimes shove each other. If you hand out candy and the kids are excited, they might shove another kid out of the way while they run to get candy from you. So if you're visiting someone who has kids and you're giving them candy, they might shove each other as they try to get candy. You can see that this bread bag, they have decided to twist the plastic bag at the end and then put a twist tie on it. So when you twist something, you do this. You can twist a cork out of a bottle. So it involves turning sometimes multiple times. Someone took this bread bag and they twisted the end, and then they put the little green twist tie on it so that it will stay closed. So when you twist something, it involves turning. And I'm trying to think of another example of twist. You can twist your hair. I obviously can't, but you can twist your hair if you want as well. Hey, let's do some questions. Let me get a sip of water here. Ricardo in the chat says, how is shove different from pushing? They are very similar, except shove is definitely intentional. Like you decide to shove someone usually. Like it's usually the result of being annoyed for sure. And then I saw another question up in the chat. Freddie says, when you slam the door, the windows can fall apart. That's not the best idea to slam it. No, it is not a good idea to slam a door. When my kids slam doors, I'm usually like, don't wreck anything. Don't damage anything. Let me just check the audio for a sec and we will. So, and then I should check the focus. Is it my eyes or is it actually out of focus? No, it is in focus. So we're good. There it goes. Okay. Questions. Let me get the first one on the screen. From Yaroslav. Morning, the wisest teacher, Bob. No questions so far. Enjoy this lesson. Have a terrific weekend ahead. You too. I have a nice weekend coming up, but I have a rather busy day today. I have to get through this day before I can enjoy the weekend. Renata, hey Bob. My question is, what do you call in English the action of shaking water, toothpaste, or mouthwash in your mouth when you're brushing your teeth? Oh, we swish it around. So if I put some mouthwash in my mouth, I would swish it around my mouth. Maybe Dave can spell that in the chat. Swish. So you swish it around. When I'm done brushing my teeth, I put some water in my mouth and I swish the water around and then I spit out the water. Great question, Renata. Let's see here. So I'm going to, hi Uncle, I was watching a British series and learned many English action verbs, but I don't understand quaff and prithee. Can you explain them to me? Thanks. I don't know those words. We don't use those in Canadian English, so you'll need to look them up yourself. Hopefully they're not bad words, but you would not hear those words in Canada or in the United States. So I'm going to move on. Let's see. Unsel, hi dear teacher Bob, how are you doing? Is there any action in your life that you have observed as a result of professional deformation? Love from Istanbul. Bye. Not quite sure what you mean by professional deformation. You'll have to explain that to me maybe in the comments below, Unsel, because that is an unfamiliar term to me. So maybe in the comments, ask it again and try to use a different, some different words to explain what you mean. From Natalia, I translate the word sigh all the time and forget it. Could you talk about the word sigh for a bit? Then I'll listen 10 times. It usually helps. Thank you. Fine, I'll explain it again. That was an example. That was me sighing. Whenever you hear someone breathe in and especially breathe out, usually their shoulders come up and then go down. That is a sigh. We often will sigh when we have to do something we don't want to do or to express dissatisfaction. So if you said, Bob, lift this heavy thing, I might go, I don't want to. Sorry for all the breathing, but that would be a sigh. You can now listen to me sighing 10 times. Let's see here from Abdir Rashid. Teacher, I wanted to ask you, I'm a student learning English language and I'm living in Africa, specifically Somalia. I'm correcting a bunch of stuff here. So I know to help all the people of the world. So that would be great. I'm glad you're learning English and I wish you all the best as you try to use that knowledge to help everyone. From Bob, make some interesting videos. I try every week to make interesting videos. I will keep doing that. I will keep trying to make interesting videos. I almost said vehicles. That's not a video. From Rabiz. Oh, thanks, Park, for the super chat. Hello from Korea. Thank you for the lesson. No problem. Thank you so much for helping support the channel. Rebaz. Hello, dear Mr. Bob. Most of the time I watch your movies on TV, YouTube, but the link doesn't open to be a member of your channel. How can I join? I think two things. You either need to be on your phone or a computer, and you need to make sure memberships are available in your country. You can't become a member in certain countries in the world, so you'll need to check that. Let's see. Get to the next question here. I think someone's spamming the chat a little bit again. How easy is it to make you mad? Not very easy, but you can do it by making repetitive noises. That doesn't make me mad, but it makes me annoyed. It's easy to annoy me. It's hard to make me mad. That's how I would answer that question. Let me get a sip of water here. Oh, Bara Vilson's here as well. Hi, Bara Vilson. Good to see you. And then Natalia says, sigh, I will. So yes, watch that part 10 times and you will know it. Okay, let's get back to the lesson. Let's keep moving along here. Let me make sure I have the right thing clicked. Unscrew. So when you have a screwdriver, and if there are screws in something, you can unscrew them. So this means you put the tip of the screwdriver into the screw and you turn counterclockwise. I think that's universal around the world. I'm pretty sure everyone turns counterclockwise to unscrew something. In English, we say righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. I don't know if you've ever heard that phrase. It's to remind people that when you're unscrewing something, or if you're taking a nut off a bolt, if you turn to the left, lefty-loosey, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, you can remember. But anyways, this person has decided to unscrew the screws from this door. So you can see they're using a screwdriver to do that. We have the verb swing. We use this a lot when talking about sports. When you play golf, you swing the golf club, just like this gentleman is. When you play baseball, you swing the bat. I'm sure in cricket, you swing the bat as well. It's anytime you have something in your hand and you do this kind of motion. You can swing a stick. You can go outside and swing a stick. But it always involves having something in your hand. Although you can swing your arm at someone too. So I take that back. You don't have to have something in your hand to swing. By the way, someone did ask about the verb shuffle, whether it had other meanings. It does. You can shuffle your feet. You can shuffle the songs on your playlist on your phone so that they play in random order. And swing as well. You can swing on a swing. Sometimes these verbs have more meanings than just the one I'm teaching. And sometimes I don't cover them all. So sorry about that. Cover. So this is a barbecue and someone has decided to cover it. In Canada, we often cover our barbecues in the winter to protect them from the snow and rain and cold weather. People who have really fancy cars sometimes will cover their car. They'll park their car in the garage and they'll put a cover on it. They'll cover their car with a cover. By the way, in English, this barbecue is covered. They decided to cover it. They decided to cover it by putting a cover on it. So it's both a noun and a verb. Uncover. So obviously this is the opposite. You see this trophy here had something over top of it. And in order to let people see it, they decided to uncover it. So the action of taking something, a blanket or fabric or a cover, the action of taking it off, we would use the verb uncover. This trophy, not sure what this is for. I should have done a bit more research. Looks pretty fancy though. They've decided to uncover it. This is something we do in Canada a lot in the winter. We scrape. This isn't just a verb though for scraping snow or ice off your car. You can scrape the bottom of a frying pan. If you cook something and the food gets stuck, you scrape the bottom of the frying pan. Definitely in the winter, I scrape ice off my windows before I drive my car. It's the action of removing something from something else that's kind of stuck on there. The ice is stuck to the window, so I need to scrape it off. I need to use my strength and a small scraper to scrape it. In a frying pan, the food might be stuck to the bottom of the pan, and you need to scrape it off. Fluff. So sometimes you fluff your pillow. We actually use fluff up. We add the word up quite often, but fluff will work. If your pillow is really flat, if you slept on your pillow all night and you have flattened your pillow by rolling your head around on it, there's the word flatten again. You can fluff your pillow. You can fluff up your pillow. You can kind of do this to it to make it a little more rounded and thicker again. So you kind of fluff the pillow. I fluff up my pillow before I go to sleep every night. Spread. So this morning I had an egg and I put it on a piece of toast. But before I put the egg on toast, I spread some butter on the toast. Not this much butter. This person has decided to spread an unhealthy amount of butter on their toast. It might also be margarine, by the way. But when you spread, you usually use a knife or another tool to put a thin layer of something on something else. You spread butter on a piece of toast. You can also use spread to talk about putting something on the ground. You can spread salt on the sidewalk in the winter to melt the ice. So anytime you distribute something, I guess would be a more formal verb. Or whenever you do this kind of action, we use the verb spread. You spread it on the toast. That looks yummy, by the way. I wonder why it's not melting. The toast doesn't seem very hot. Usually the butter that I put on my toast melts right away. Sprinkle. So sometimes I sprinkle some chocolate chips on top of my ice cream. Sometimes I sprinkle, I'm trying to think of another word for sprinkle. When you make a birthday cake, you might sprinkle some toppings on top. But when you sprinkle, you do exactly this. You take a little bit of something and you kind of do this action. Does my hand match the video clip? You take a little bit of salt and you kind of sprinkle the salt, or you take a little bit of spices and you sprinkle them on your food. So you take a small amount of something and you kind of drop it on top of something else. This isn't how I put salt on my food, though. I usually just use the salt shaker. I shake it. A slide. So you can slide a lot of things, but in general, it means to move along something without moving your arms or legs. This kid has decided to slide down the slide. You can slide something across something. Like if this was sitting on my hand, I can slide it across my hand. So anytime a person and a thing or two things are moving against each other, we use the verb slide. So you can slide from one end to the other. You can slide on ice. You can run and then stop moving your feet and you will slide across the ice. That's always fun to do, by the way. I like doing that every once in a while. I like to slide on ice. Even at my age, it's a lot of fun. So whenever a birthday is approaching or when Christmas is approaching here, we buy each other presents. And before we give the present, we wrap the present. So we take the present and we put paper on the outside so the person can't see what it is. You can see in this picture, the person has some wrapping paper and they have a gift and they've decided to wrap the gift. So they're going to put wrapping paper on the outside to kind of disguise what it is you are looking at. So they've decided to wrap the gift and they've decided to keep it a secret until the day they give it to someone. Yeah, let's go to members only chat for a minute. In the chat, it says from Gaurav, you are teaching action verbs, so you are doing action with verbs. Yes, I'm in the action of teaching right now. But yeah, let's go to members only chat. Give me a second here to set that up. I know it's a little earlier than normal, but we are going to be doing a bit quicker lessons on Fridays for a couple more months yet. Let's see here. Members only chat is on. If you are a member, you may ask questions directly in the chat. I will keep answering questions from the forum. From Peter. Hi, Mr. Bob. Your topic is great and funny. No question today. When I walk up today, my first thing I do is swat the fly. Thanks. Have a wonderful day. God bless you. So yes, quite often, if you live somewhere where there are lots of flies, you will end up swatting flies. I was swatting a fly last night too. Swatted a fly this morning, swatted one last night. Vitor, is there a specific action verb for shaking legs when sitting? We would describe that exactly how you described it, that your legs are shaking. When you sit, sometimes people, their leg will shake. And that's how we would describe it. Yeah, when he sits for a long time, his leg starts to shake or his leg will shake. And if you aren't doing it consciously, we say it shakes uncontrollably. From Noor, you are the best teacher. Love from Afghanistan. Thank you very, very much. That is very nice of you to say. Let's see here. From Amran. Hello, Bob. How are you getting on? Long time I was not hearing you via YouTube. Well, I'm glad to see that you are back. That is awesome. Thank you so much for being here and hanging out and learning a little bit of English, Amram. Let me see here. So from John, Bob, what is the difference between unfold and uncover? Are they the same? Thank you. No, not exactly. If you have a piece of paper that's folded up, you would unfold the paper. But if you have something like a barbecue or a car that has a blanket over it, you would uncover it. So unfold usually involves paper of some kind, and you unfold the paper. From the chat, Lolly says, can I say close the door instead of shut the door? Merci. Yes. I need to shut the door. I need to close the door. Hey, can you close the door? Hey, can you shut the door? Don't slam it. That's how I would say it. Thanks, Lolly, for that question. From Ray, hi, Bob from Brazil. Does Canadian English change from the USA? So Canadians and Americans speak very similar forms of English. There are very few differences. There are a small handful of words that are spelled differently. Like in the US, if you spell color, it doesn't have a U. In Canada, it has a U. But in general, the English accent is very North American. There are different variations. People from Eastern Canada have a bit of an accent to my ear. People from the Southern US have a bit of an accent. But in general, we have no trouble understanding each other. It's very easy for Canadians and Americans to understand each other. In fact, Some Americans and some Canadians sound identical, and you don't know where they're from initially because they sound exactly the same. Freddie Wolf. Sir Bob. Let me put my glasses on here. Bonjour, Bob. I have a question about the modal verb can. I thought that cannot and cannot were different in the sense of can not only for cannot, but someone told me that they were equal. Merci. I cannot tell you the answer. I use cannot, and I think they are the same. Let me just double check this to make sure I'm not wrong. Are cannot and cannot the same? So you don't even know which one I'm saying. Both cannot and cannot are perfectly fine, but cannot is far more common. I think I say the two words as one word. So definitely cannot is how I would say it most often. Yes. And it sounds like they're interchangeable. Wanda. Hi, Teacher Bob. Could you explain? Uh-oh. And then the rest of the question is gone. Sorry, Wanda. Merci, Bob, says Lolly. Hello, Brent. I'm not sure if Brent's here, but I'm here. How about hit the door? If you say hit the door, I'm imagining that you're actually hitting it, that you're hitting it with your hand or something like that. But when you say hit the road, it means you're going to leave. It means you are somewhere and you're going to go somewhere else. So let me just check something here. I'm going to see where I'm at. Yeah, we should probably get back to the lesson if I'm going to finish it in time. Let me check if there's any more questions in the... Yep, we're fine with questions there. And I think we're fine with members only. So if you don't mind, I'm going to turn off members only. Give me a second here. I'm going to go back to subscriber only mode. Thank you, members, for asking some questions. That is very awesome of you. If you still have a question, do ask it, and I will pause and answer the members' questions as I continue with the lesson. So I'm done all the questions from the forum and from the chat. Let's get back to this lesson. Measure. When you build something, or when you need to cut something, or when you need to put something in a specific spot, you will measure. You will spend some time with a measuring tape, that's what this is, or a ruler, and you will measure. You will figure out how many centimeters it is, or how many inches it is. If you have a piece of wood and you need to cut it at 32 centimeters, you will measure the piece of wood and you will put a pencil mark and then you will cut it at 32 centimeters. So when you measure something, it means you use something like a tape measure in order to make sure the length is the length it's supposed to be. You will measure it. It's spring here, and a lot of people have decided to mow their lawn. They have decided to get out their lawnmower. They've decided the grass is too long and they need to mow it. We actually have this exact lawnmower. This isn't me, but this person has decided to mow their lawn. What I will say, though, is I don't often pull the lawnmower backwards. That's a new one for me. I generally push the lawnmower forwards and then turn around at the end. But when your lawn is long, sometimes you need to mow your lawn. If you live in an apartment, you don't have this problem. But if you live in a house and you have a lawn, you need to mow your lawn. Okay, be careful. There's going to be a bit of violence here. She decided to slap him. So again, you shouldn't ever hit people. But this particular kind of hit is called a slap. It's when you do this to someone. When you have your hand open and you do this, there, I just slapped myself. I'm going to stop the clip because I don't want you to have to watch someone getting slapped over and over again. But sometimes if you're watching a TV show, someone might be angry at someone else and they might slap that person. They might decide they're so angry they're going to hit the person, and they hit them with their open hand across the face. They slap them. When you go on a trip, you need to pack. When you pack, you put all of your stuff in a suitcase or in a bag. We also use this verb to talk about moving. When you move from one place to another, you will pack. You will pack your suitcase, or you will pack your boxes. You will pack your bags. So anytime you are going on a trip or moving, you will pack before you go. You will put all of your clothes and the things you need into a suitcase or into a bag. Sorry, let me just get to where I'm supposed to be here. There we go. Scrub. So we talked about scrape, and scrub is similar, but it's usually used with soap and water and a sponge or a cloth. This person is going to, or they already did, scrub this glass. Now they're rinsing it, by the way. So right here, so this is, they're scrubbing it. So using a sponge and some soap and water, they've decided to rub the glass really hard. And the verb we use is scrub. I know it rhymes with rub, but that is the verb we would use to describe this action, to scrub. Right there, that's a scrub. So when you have, I think I've done this. Did I do this in the last lesson? This might have been one of the basic action verbs. I'm not sure how this slipped in here, but this person has decided to fold this piece of paper. They have a piece of paper. They don't want to leave it flat. For some reason, they want to fold it. So they do this and they press it down. They do this. You can see in this little video clip, the person has decided to fold the piece of paper that they have. When you go and watch a performance, you will often clap at the end. We call this applause. When you hear someone play a really good piece of music, when they're done, you might clap to show your appreciation. You might clap to celebrate the fact that your team won the game. You might all clap. If someone sings a beautiful song, you're at a concert, when they are done, you will put your hands together like this and you will clap. In fact, when someone asks an audience to clap, they often say that. They'll say, put your hands together for Bob the Canadian. He's going to sing us a little song. I'm not going to sing, but yes. Whistle. Oh, this lady is really whistling. Maybe I'll let you watch the clip for a couple seconds and then we'll pause her. She's a little too excited for me. But whistle, I'm not a very good whistler, is when you put your lips like that and then you make sounds. Some people can whistle on tune and can whistle songs. It's something enjoyable. Some people like to sing. Some people like to hum. Some people like to whistle. One of the first things babies do when they start to move is they start to crawl. When you crawl, you move on all fours. Right here, this baby has decided to crawl along the floor. So they are mobile. They are able to move. Babies, when they are first born, are not mobile. They can't move. But eventually they learn to crawl before they learn to walk. So we talked about the verb to shake a little earlier, but this is someone who has made themselves a drink and they need to shake it, probably to mix it up. This person probably put some stuff in their cup, maybe some water and some sort of, looks like some sort of protein powder or something. And now they need to shake the cup in order to mix everything. So when you shake something, you very quickly move it. Sometimes people will shake a present. After you wrap a present, sometimes kids will shake the present to listen to what's inside, to see if they can guess what it is. Often when you make a drink like this, you'll put a lid on and you'll shake it just to make sure that it is well mixed and blended before you actually drink it. There we go. Pour. So if you want a drink, you need to pour yourself a glass of water or pour yourself a glass of milk. Sometimes when people come over, I will pour them a drink. I will say, hey, would you like some juice or water? I'll pour you a drink. So the action of moving a liquid from one container to another, in this case, from a pitcher to a glass, if you turn the pitcher like this so the water comes out, we use the verb to pour. So you pour the water into the glass. And okay, I don't like this video. I cannot handle watching this. Spill. When you spill something, it's usually a liquid, and it means that it falls out where it's not supposed to. If I accidentally knocked this glass, I would say that I spilled the water. When you spill water or when you spill something like soda or pop on something, it's never a good idea, especially if it's some kind of electronics like this computer. You don't want to spill water on a computer. When you spill water on the ground, you just wipe it up. But when you spill water on a computer or something else, you are stressed because you may have broken it. So here we go, spill. It's not nice when you spill something. Water is the easiest thing to clean up, by the way. Pop or soda is not easy. If you don't clean it up really well, it gets sticky. And then, of course, if you do spill something, you need to wipe. We sometimes use the phrasal verb wipe up, but you can just say, I'm going to wipe the counter. I'm going to wipe the table. If I spilled something, I would use up. I would say, I'm going to wipe up the pop that I just spilled. I'm going to wipe it up. That's it. That was a quick lesson. I think I went faster than I normally do. I will now pop over and check out if there are any more questions. But thanks for watching. Let me see if there are questions here. Yeah, there's a few. Let me see here. First question from Abdi Kafi. Hi there, Bob. I hope you get well. I have no question, but I literally thank you for the lesson. Great words and excellent explanation. Keep it up, Mr. Bob. You are very, very welcome. I was going to scroll back to... Renata says, from my poor understanding, swish in basketball means when the ball goes into the basket without touching its edges, the rim. Yes, it doesn't touch the rim. That's exactly what a swish is. I was going to just make sure I didn't mow the grass. Yes, Ricardo, you can say mow the grass. I'm going to mow the grass or I'm going to mow the lawn. And Yaroslav says, there are many advanced verbs I did not know. Thanks. You are very welcome. Let me get back to the question form. Fazana, what is the difference between sometime and sometimes? So here's just two examples. I want to do that sometime. So if I say, I've never been whitewater rafting, I want to do that sometime. It means that at some point in the future, I want to do it. But if I say whitewater rafting, I do that sometimes. It means I regularly do it. Come back next Saturday and ask that question on the Saturday live stream, and I'll try to give a better and longer explanation. From Ricardo, hi Bob, can I say mow the grass? Yes, I need to mow the lawn. I need to mow the grass. We need to get the grass mown today. There are many, many different ways to say it for sure. Yeah, definitely. Okay, let me see here from the chat. It's game over for this computer. Yeah, the one that got spilled on. Yes. Wow, that computer is screwed up. Yes, that computer would definitely be screwed up if it had pop spilled on it. Vitor says, thanks, Bob. Let's see. Oh, yes, Eugene sent me dry wipes last year. That's true, in order to wipe stuff up. Thanks, Eugene, for that. That was cool. Renata says, thank you for the useful lesson. Okay. Hey, I'm going to wrap this up. I think we are done. Sorry for such a quick lesson, but that makes it easier for me to get to work. So that's one bonus for me. Do remember that this lesson on action verbs part 2, there will be a shorter version that comes out in a couple days. You can kind of speed run it. Speed run is a word we use to describe playing a video game really quickly from beginning to end, but you can speed run the video. Just watch it one more time or listen to it one more time. This will really help you remember all of the action verbs that I just taught you. If you're one of the 302 people who are watching, thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to click that subscribe button, and new video will come out Tuesday. I think you'll like it. It's about the prefix dis, D-I-S, honest and dishonest. I might do a magic trick in the video. I might do a disappearing trick. We'll see. Anyways, thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks to Dave for moderating the chat. Thanks to everyone who came and hung out. I'm going to click the end button and gonna go. Bye.